Hey, what's up, good people? My name is William Alderman, for those that do not know who I am. And today is the update on what happened yesterday. But first off, happy Father's Day to all the good fathers out there, and even those that are trying to be good. Shout out to you guys. All of us are just taking it one day at a time. But beyond the point, the major point is the fact that, let's just get it out the way, I lost. I lost. So I lost by 2, but if there was a bow that I can lose to, it was definitely the bow. The dude was running a title. Dude's name was Matt, really cool guy. I honestly thought I was out the running. We were running like the Vegas style or Lancaster. I can't remember the difference between the two. I just know that we were running 11s as the middle X, and then 10, 9, 8, 7, all the way out. So I dropped a few 9s pretty early on, and he looked like he was doing pretty good early on. So then I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna get focused in on what I'm doing and try to beat myself rather than trying to beat him. And so I then came to the conclusion that I definitely was in my head a little bit, but it was kind of fun to kind of work through all of what was going on and trying to lock it in, say one shot at a time, and then feeling like I was feeling some stuff up front. And so basically up to that point, I'd been feeling like I'd been putting too much pressure on my left side, on my thumb. So I kept on thinking about, hey, don't do that, don't do that. Keep your palm in it, don't put your thumb in it, keep your palm in it, don't keep your thumb in it. And I was really just focused on that the whole time. And then I'd shank one to the left or drop one a little low. I just could not figure out what I was doing wrong. I just kept on kind of taking it one shot, then I'll think about it. Take another shot. I actually got pretty verbal with myself, just trying to relock it in and refocus in regards to what it was that I was trying to do, which is obviously one shot at a time. But I got beat out by a 307, and I shot a 303, which was definitely not what my goal was. I thought I would be able to run a pretty consistent score, but obviously I haven't really been doing that in practice, so I honestly think that that's pretty unrealistic for myself. But I do know that that is the standard, that's the goal, to be able to shoot 300s pretty consistently and then get the X count up, which is the ultimate goal, so I can actually compete with some of the big dogs. But at the end of the day, if I'm totally honest, it was extremely fun, extremely cool to kind of feel the nerves. There's about 8 people there. So to feel like I did decent is nice, but I have so much room to grow, which obviously is really exciting. I say obviously, maybe some people would not be excited about that, but knowing that I have somewhere to go and grow, and trying to figure out what are some areas that I can kind of grow in. But yeah, so it led me down a path, obviously trying to figure out exactly what was going on. I noticed when I got kind of frustrated at something that actually happened, it actually had nothing to do with my shooting. But I had one end that I actually shot all 3 X's right when I kind of got frustrated. Which leads me to a different conversation, and I'll tie it all in. But so at the end, I was talking with Matt, the guy that beat me, and just drooling over his bow, just saying, dude, your bow is freaking sick, I love it. But we kind of got in this conversation. I was like, yeah, man, I just kept on doing this, and really frustrating, or I kept on pulling off the shot. And at first he thought I was just getting a bunch of dip bangs. He was like, man, you probably need to stay in your back wall, which is the main thing that I'm always focused on, so I immediately like shut it down. I was like, nah, it was really just pulling left. So I'm not sure if that really has to do with me being in my back wall. I felt pretty good in my back wall. But as I kept on thinking about that, and I think about the 3X that I shot, and I remember feeling so strong in my shot when I shot those 3X's. I was paying attention obviously to my bubble and paying attention to like my sight picture, but that was so secondary that round. And I just remember thinking like, oh man, and ended up really squeezing it out. So I think Matt, praise God for you, kind of brought that on my radar, and then led me to doing a bigger deep dive in regards to other people's shot process, as well as like how they think through their actual stabilization setup. Because I always think about just left and right. I got in my head and wanted to, oh well, I need to get the bigger arrows, or man, I need to do this. But it really came down to the realization of no, when you do what you need to do, when I actually looked at my paper and really started analyzing all of my shots, it was so clear to me, like, no, like your foundation is not set the way it needs to be set. And so obviously with 4 or 5 years of hunting and a lot of shooting and trying to get the feel for a bow, I feel like I don't even know what color belt I'll be in Taekwondo or whatever, or martial arts. But at the end of the day, I feel like I'm at a really raw place where I get to really lay some good foundations. I feel like I just gained an alertness of my body. If I'm thinking about weightlifting, I now know how to squat, I know how to hinge. But now I think is when I lay the foundation of how consistently can I do those things. So knowing when I got a little bit anxious, knowing that I started worrying about my hand rather than just pulling the bow apart and creating stability through how I pull through my back wall, which has always been a level of confidence for me, an area in which I've operated. But when I got there, that went out the window. So being able to lock it in those environments is definitely going to be pretty cool. And actually traded numbers with dude, and so I think we're going to be able to go to some target archeries. He knows a lot of stuff that's actually going on locally, and he drove 2 hours to get to the indoor shoot, so that was pretty cool. But at the end of the day, just really, as I said, really awesome community, really excited to be able to continue to grow in this archery thing and just see where it takes me. Obviously, who knows? I really, at the end of the day, just want to compete. I want to compete at a high level, and I want to be the best that I can be. And I think that with the way that I think through things, I think I have a potential to actually go and win some stuff, but I have a ways to go, a really, really far ways to go. So, but it's not daunting. It doesn't feel stressful. At the end of the day, it's just kind of part of the process. And so just trying to fall in love with the process, take it one day at a time, just like we tell our kids in the weight room. It's not about the end all goal, about who you might be at the end of the year, but it definitely falls more in regards to what are you doing day in and day out. And if I'm honest with me, only really right now being able to shoot over the weekend, even with it being the summer, I've just been burning the wick at both ends, so not really having a ton of time to actually shoot other than the few hours here or there, Saturday and Sunday and maybe Friday. I just know it's going to be limited in regards to how good I actually get. And so once I get everything kind of squared away in regards to my schedule with the training, with some of my clients, as well as what I'm doing with the school still, definitely going to lock it in, because at the end of the day, I'm still a dad. And still a husband, and that's always going to take priority. But learning how to figure out what I take priority in is definitely going to kind of figure itself out. And so now it's just time for me to find that balance, if you will. So yeah, that's that. As I said, I took an L, and I feel like I've been taking L's a lot recently. Just to give you guys another random update, I took the CSCS exam. Not that any of you guys really care about that, but it's actually the Certified Strength and Conditioning certifications, which is kind of the golden standard. And again, I failed by 2 points on one of the parts, and 10, which is a really close score in regards to passing. But I just keep on coming back to that place of just saying, well, who are you when things aren't going your way? I failed a lot. And I think about the Michael Jordan quote where it's like, I succeed because I fail. So just trying to hold on to that, like mentality to say like, no, don't give up, keep on locking it in and keep on taking it one day at a time. And so just excited to actually live out what I preach and kind of taking it one day at a time, as I keep on saying. So yeah, and if I can give one more update, shout out to my boy Alex, the guy that runs the nonprofit that actually was running the tournament. He saw me with my little micro diameter arrows, and he was like, dude, yeah, I want you to try these out and see what you think. So ultra arrows that I get to try out for the day, see if I like it, which feels like cheating honestly right now, looking at what the target's doing. And today's not a shooting and trying to figure out how I'm shooting today and recording type of day. What it is I want to shoot them, see what I feel, see what I like about them. But at the end of the day, my goal is still to be able to shoot a 300 consistently with these, because if I can shoot a 300 consistently with my RIP TKOs, when I start actually upgrading and getting the bigger and badder bows and bigger and thicker arrows, what I call these the Dookie arrows, then I feel like I'll be pretty unstoppable. But I got to get the foundation and the fundamentals down, so when everything crumbles, I have something to hold on to. And so, yeah, just enjoying the journey, enjoying the ride. So thanks again for listening, and hopefully add some pictures along the way that kind of made this a little bit more interesting rather than just a talking head for however long I've been talking. So yeah, that's that. I'm gonna enjoy some shooting. Pieces, don't forget to be better. Oh, last thing, shout out to my wife. I know I'm like drenching this shirt, but yeah, she made that for me. Because I have an awesome wife. Oh, so if you made it this far in the video, appreciate it. So today we went to go see Inside Out, and obviously yesterday I competed, then today I go watch Inside Out, and for those that don't know, it's a Pixar movie that talks about your emotions and dealing with all that. And it actually brought up some like PTSD, which was kind of cool to be able to like deal with and chew on it. There's a part in the movie at the end, spoiler alert, close to the end, where she's trying to prove herself and always trying to feel like, oh, I gotta be enough, I gotta be enough, I gotta be enough, I'm not good enough, not good enough. And in that moment, it brought me back to one time when I was watching Warrior, an old UFC movie where he fights his older brother. And when I was sitting down watching that movie a long time ago, I remember having like a legit panic attack, kind of like what she was having in the penalty box. And there's something that always was clicking in my head that I thought back to, and it connects back to yesterday when I was competing, which was that idea of like, you're not good enough. You'll be second best either way. So like, just deal with it. Just like I said earlier, where I failed the CSCS exam by like this much on my first try. But if I'm learning anything about myself, is just, hey, yeah, those are my thoughts, but like, how do I deal with those in the moment? Like, how do I actually conquer those? And so trying to like, not just do the whole like speak life into it, but legitimately believe it, and understanding like with practice and with the exposure, I feel like there's conquering and there's a way to conquer it, but it's still something that I'm working through. So food for thought, just something that I'm working through. I don't have all the answers, which is kind of weird for me to make note of something out loud, especially posting it to the world when I don't feel comfortable about kind of the resolution behind it all. But that moment in the movie really brought back an old time that it was really, really hard for me when I was pursuing professional athletics. And so then it relates back to archery now. And so at the end of the day, the demons are still in the closet. So now I got to figure out how to deal with them. So here's the last three. Let's see if I can lock it back in after doing all that talking. All right. I did not. That's why I don't do so much talking. Well, last two are X's, but be on the point. Be better, y'all.